This video is an introduction to the PSF Minting Council. It's an introduction and a workflow for the members of the Minting Council. So the target audience for this video is members of the PSF governance or VIP channel that hold governance tokens, because it's those members from that pool of members that's where the Minting Council members will be pulled from. And so we're getting ready to start the Minting Council for the first time, and I wanted to create a video to walk these new Minting Council members through the workflow that they'll be going through. The very first activity that the Minting Council will be overseeing is updating the price for writing to the pay-to-write database. This is something that the Minting Council will meet quarterly on in order to update the price. Requires a multi-signature transaction, so this video they'll probably want to review this video every quarter as we get the ball rolling and get used to working with multi-sig wallets, which are much more complex and confusing than working with conventional wallets. So the first thing that I should point out is that members of the Minting Council should hold their NFT in an isolated wallet. Do not keep your NFT in a wallet that you use for other types of transactions, or even the wallet that holds your governance NFT. And the reason for this is that the Minting Council NFT is going to act like a homing beacon, and in order to participate in the Minting Council, you need to create one transaction that puts your public key on the blockchain. So it's a little less secure, and there is surveillance risk and scamming risk, and so it's just going to be much better practice for each member of the Minting Council to create a new wallet that is isolated to just the Minting Council NFT and a minimum amount of Bitcoin Cash, a few cents, in order to pay for transactions. So I've created sort of a mock Minting Council here in order to run this demo. And so if I list the wallets in this demo, the NFT baton represents a member of the management, which would be initiating the transaction, and I'll get into that in details. And there are 4 members of the Minting Council: Alice, Bob, Chad, and Sam. And if I pull up Alice's wallet, then we can see that she has an NFT. So she's got this other voting token, and she's got a few Satoshis of Bitcoin Cash, but this is the NFT that is going to be used as a homing beacon. The actual Minting Council NFTs will be different, not this one. This is just for a demo. But each wallet's going to have an NFT like this. And what I also want to introduce is this document in our governance documents at psfoundation.info for the Minting Council. So everything I'm going to cover in this video is laid out in this document, but I'm also creating a video since a lot of people get more use out of the videos, the richer in content than just the written text. But the written text is here, and if you read anything that contradicts what I say in this video, go with what's written down, because this video will probably not be updated, but the text will be updated as necessary. So if there's any conflict between what you see in this video and what you read on this document, go with the document. So I talked about tracking members, so let me get a little more depth of how this NFT is used as a homing beacon. First of all, if you run the help I should cover that first. So members of the Minting Council are drawn from the pool of PSF governance NFT holders. We've had several meetings on this, and that's what the VIP channel decided they wanted the rules to be. So that's what we're moving forward with. In addition to owning a governance NFT, in order to be on the Minting Council, you need to be able to demonstrate technical proficiency. So you should at least know a little bit of JavaScript, but most importantly, you should be comfortable using the PSF BCH wallet command line app, since that's how everything's going to be executed. It's also important for each member of the Minting Council to recognize that they do not have any autonomy. No one in the Minting Council should be proposing transactions or initiating transactions. If anybody does, that's a huge red flag, and you should go to the VIP channel and report it. The only time the Minting Council should be making a transaction is explicitly when a governance proposal has been voted on, and there's a specific thing for the Minting Council to do. Other than that, the only time the Minting Council should come together is this quarterly meeting to update the price of the pay-to-write database. So with that caveat, let me get into this MC collect keys command. But before I do that, I just brought up the help, and you'll notice that there's a series of commands for the Minting Council, and they start with this MC prefix, and by default they do not come up in the help. So to turn them on, what you want to do, so this conf command brings up all the configuration variables, and so if we look at this command MC for Minting Council, we can see that it's set to false by default. So if we change that value to true, and just confirm that it is true, then when we run the help command, the MC commands will appear. So this collect keys command, it has no arguments, so anybody can run this, and what it does is it pulls up all the NFTs, uses the NFTs to look up the addresses holding those NFTs, and then it looks for the public key for each address on the blockchain. And that public key is used for a couple things. It's used to generate the multisig wallet, and it's also used to send end-to-end encrypted messages to each member of the Minting Council. This can take a minute, so I'll pause the video. So we can see here it pulled up all the NFTs that it could find. It found the address for each NFT, and it was able to find 3 of the 4 public keys. It was not able to find a public key for this address. This is the Chad wallet, and they have not made a transaction. They do have the NFT, but they have not made a transaction, so their public key is not on the blockchain, which means they cannot participate in the Minting Council. So just something to be aware of. That's one extra step. You need to make one transaction, either send the NFT back to yourself or send a little bit of Bitcoin Cash back to yourself, and just any type of transaction will put your public key on the blockchain, and that's needed in order to participate in the Minting Council. So something to be aware of. Okay, so that's the MC collect key. Now, as I said, the most common activity that the Minting Council will engage in is this quarterly update of the pay-to-write database price for writing to the database. And so this command will be initiated by a member of the management, and actually that's here in this section about initiating a transaction. So again, just to emphasize, members of the Minting Council should not be initiating transactions. That's the role of the management. They will initiate the transaction, and when they do, they will put the subject of the message in, as well as the address they're sending the proposal from, in the VIP channel. And I'll talk to this a little bit more, because each member of the Minting Council should verify those 2 pieces of data before they sign the transaction. So let me bring up this command. It's MC update pay-to-write database price. It's got 3 arguments. So one is the NFT Baton wallet, so that represents the member of a management in this example, and it's going to have a subject. So I'll say a subject like price update Q4 2022, and I'll add a message like this will be announced in the PSF VIP channel, please verify the address sending you this message. And so I'm going to go ahead and hit enter, and what this command is going to do, it's a pretty long running command. It's doing a series of things. So first it's going to execute that collect keys command that I just showed in order to pull up all the public keys for all the NFT holders. It's going to generate a multi-signature wallet from those public keys, and the threshold for spending from the wallet is 50% plus 1. So it's so if there's 5 members, it's going to be a 3 of 5. So it'll be 5 divided by 2 is 2.5. It's going to round down to 2 plus add 1, that'll be 3. So 3 of 5. If it's 6, it'll be a 4 of 6, because it'll be 6 divided by 2 is 3 plus 1, that's 4, so 4 of 6. If it's 7, it's going to be a 4 of 7, so 7 divided by 2 is 3.5, round down to 3, add 1, that's 4, so it's going to be a 4 of 7. If it's 8, I guess it would be 5 of 8. So that's basically how the logic works there. And so it's generating the wallet, and then after it generates the wallet, it generates a transaction for spending from the wallet, which is a transaction with an op return, and this is what sets the pay-to-write database price. So this wallet will be funded by a member of the management. So all the members of the Minting Council need to do is just make sure that the transaction is valid, and then sign it and send it back, and that's all they need to do. So all the heavy lifting is really, the initiation part is handled by a member of the management. And then finally it will send the unsigned transaction to each member of the Minting Council through an end-to-end encrypted message, and again that's encrypted using that public key that it pulled from the blockchain. So I'll give this some time to go through and complete all of those. But this is kind of what it looks like, in that this is the wallet object that it created, and it's a little compressed there, and then it generated a transaction for spending from that wallet, and here's the transaction object, and now it is sending an end-to-end encrypted message to each member of the Minting Council with that multi-sig transaction. Alright, so that's been completed. So the unsigned transaction has been sent to each NFT holder that belongs to the Minting Council. So everything that we've covered at this point does not require any action on the part of a member of the Minting Council. So as a member of the Minting Council, now it's time for you to react. So from here, if I say I was the member of the management announcing this, which I probably would be, I would then go to the VIP channel and I'd say, hey, Minting Council members, I just sent you a message. Here's the subject. Here's the subject. And here's the address that I'm sending from. So in this example, it's this address right here. So QRL DC7. I would say, yeah, I sent you a message. Here's with an unsigned transaction that I want you to sign and broadcast to update the pay-to-write database price. Here's the address I sent it from. Here is the subject of the message that I sent it from. Please verify those two things, and then sign and broadcast sign the transaction and send the signature back to me. This is where you would now take action. So there's a few commands here, and I'm going to have Alice pretend that the Alice wallet here. So she received one of those unsigned transactions. She would run this message check command to see if she has any end-to-end encrypted messages that someone has sent her, and she's got quite a few. There's going to be a list here. So, but here's one that matches the subject line. And so she would look at that one, and she would use this MC read tx command. So let's check that out. MC read tx. Let's look at the help for that. So it's got two arguments: the name of the wallet, which in this case is Alice, and the transaction ID. So this command displays this. So that transaction contains the unsigned transaction, and if we ran the message read command, that would be displayed. But this is actually a better command. This MC read tx command. It displays the sender as well as that message that we attach to the transaction. So she's able to verify the address QRL DC7. That it came from, the address that represents the person from the management team, and let's see, she verifies the sender and the subject. So it's really important to do these two things: to verify the sender and the subject, so that we can't get scammed. And so now that she's verified that the address and the subject are correct, she can go ahead and sign the command with this MC sign tx command. It's got, again, two arguments, same arguments: the wallet, which is Alice, which is holding that Minting Council NFT, and the TX ID of the message. So as a member of the Minting Council, you really only need to run those three commands. Message check to check if you have any end-to-end encrypted messages, the MC read tx command to verify the subject and the sender, and then finally the MC sign tx command to sign the unsigned transaction and send your signature back to the originator, which is the member of the management. Once enough people, that 50% plus one threshold of people, have signed their inputs and sent them back to the originator, that member of the management can then finalize the transaction and broadcast it with this MC finish command. Okay, so off camera, I just did the same thing for Bob, for the Bob wallet. So this is a 3 of 5 since Chad was not able to participate because his public key was not able to be found on the blockchain. So there was only 3 participants. So that made a 2 of 3 wallet, and 2 of the 3 have sent their messages, their signatures back to the originator. So again, what I'm about to show, this final part where the transaction's being finalized, this is not something that a member of the multisig or of the Minting Council needs to worry about. But I'm just showing the whole workflow for completion. So normally I would have a hard time telling which of these is which, but because I just did this and it's an experiment, I know that these top 2 are the 2 transactions I'm looking for. In fact, I would probably use a dedicated wallet as a member of the management, just so there wouldn't be any confusion as to what transactions mean what. But this MC finish command will add all the signatures together, complete the transaction, and broadcast it. And so this is going to be paid for by the NFT Baton wallet, and I need to create an array of those transaction IDs, and so it's just going to be these 2. Has to be a JSON string. That's why it's formatted that way. So that's what this is going to do. It's going to pull out those signatures from those 2 messages. It's going to take the transaction, the unsigned transaction, add those signatures, and then broadcast it. So there's the 2 signatures, here and here. And it just broadcasted the transaction. and we can look at it on the Blockchain Explorer. Yeah, so it's got this op return data, and that's really the secret sauce there, is a multi-signature transaction with op return data. That's what's going to allow us to do a lot of different things with this workflow, like update the pay-to-write database, or remotely control an app to, say, shut it down and drain the funds if we're in an attack situation, or to mint new SLP tokens. Those are all things that happen from an op return, and so being able to put this functionality into a multi-sig wallet protects us. So a member of the management would not be able to do any of this on their own. They require the members of the Minting Council working together in order to achieve this functionality, and so that means that none of us can be coerced by a state actor, which is very beneficial for a decentralized autonomous organization. So just to recap, I discussed why you should hold your Minting Council NFT in an isolated wallet. I showed how to turn on the commands in the help with the conf command. We showed how NFTs are used as homing beacons to retrieve the public keys needed to create multi-sig wallets and to send end-to-end encrypted messages. We showed how that's done with the MC collect key command. I showed how a member of the management would initiate an update to the pay-to-write database price by running this command. I showed how to use the message check command to check your messages, the MC read TX to read those unsigned transactions, verifying the sender and the subject, and then how to sign it using the MC sign TX command. So these three are the only commands that a member of the Minting Council need to execute. And then finally, I just showed how the originator, which would be a member of the management, would use that MC finish command to add all the signatures and broadcast the transaction to finalize everything.